Hi everyone, welcome back to Food Feeds. Today we are going to start a new series which is based on the top food technology trends in this current year, that is 2026, where we are going to talk about what's currently happening in the food industry. So it's not just about the social media trends, it's more about we will talk the structural shift, the changes that will shape how food is being produced, regulated, and consumed in the coming years. So, today, the first trend I'm going to discuss is alternative proteins. When we hear the term alternative protein, let me be clear that this is not going to be about being vegan or maybe not about replacing the meat or solving a math problem. It's just about the world needs more protein and our planet has limits. So the question becomes, can we produce enough protein in a different way? So let's understand this step by step. So currently, by the predictions, they say that by 2050, the population is going to be 10 billion. And as the income of the people are increasing, the protein demand is also increasing, the consumption is increasing, and the farmland, the agriculture farmland that is being used is almost 77% for the livestock, which is almost like you have a house and using most of your whole room for just having one purpose. So it works, but it's heavy on the land, water, or greenhouse gas emission. The current system has fed the last century, the last generation, but scaling it further has become difficult. So, here the alternative protein is an attempt to redesign the system, not just stretch it. And when we talk about any new food innovation, sometimes it sounds like a hype. So, let's look at the number, whether it's actually that serious. So, the global alternative protein market in 2021 was supposed to be 14 billion. But now by 2030, it is projected to be almost 38 billion. So when you look at this, so it's obvious that there's 11% of compound annual growth, which means the market is not just growing, it is growing on top of the previous growth. And North America currently leads in alternative protein section. Europe is also growing fast due to the sustainability regulations and supply chain shift. So, this tells us something important, that is, capital is moving, the industries are investing into this trend. So, it's a complete transition on how the food system will work in future. And when I say alternative protein, we are talking about the four main categories which comes under this. So the first one is the plant-based protein. These come from the soya, peas, lentils, and other crops. The second is insect based proteins, which are actually very efficient protein producers because the quality of the protein is told to be premium quality when it comes to the insect based protein. And the third is mycoprotein. It is the protein derived from fungi. So you think of it as a controlled mushroom like biomass grown for the protein production. The fourth is cultured meat, which is the real animal meat, but it is grown from the cells in a lab and it's not from raising or slaughtering the animals. So each of these categories of alternative proteins are they use a different technologies for the production, but all of them are trying to answer the simple basic question like how do we produce protein with fewer resources? Right now, in the plant-based protein dominates the market for obvious reasons. That is, like, firstly, the environmental math, that plants generally require less land and water compared to the livestock, and they also produce fewer greenhouse gas emission. Second, the consumer comfort. So people understand plants, they may hesitate with the insect or lab grown products, the meat, but the plant based protein feels familiar. So for marketing or for like sales, it's not really difficult. And third is the technology readiness. So, for example, textured vegetable protein that we call TVP can exactly mimic the meat texture. So they have already, you might have seen in the markets, there are a lot of products which are plant based, which mimic the meat. So um, the people are liking the taste and texture of those kind of meats which are produced from plant, and it's more acceptable. So it's more of like, think of it like building structure from plant fibers. So food scientists design it to behave like meat while it's being cooked. And also plant-based products have a longer shelf life and it fit easily into existing food safety system. So they are not perfect, but they are more scalable, acceptable by the consumers, and it's good for the environment. And that's the reason why plant based protein are comparatively uh, at the top currently in the alternative protein system. And when we say that about the plant protein, most of the people raise a question about the nutrition, right? So, a common concern is the nutrition, and the human body basically needs nine essential amino acids. Essential means our body cannot make them, so we must get it from the food outside the body. And some plant proteins are actually low in one or two amino acids. So, but here where the food technologist or food technology plays its part, by blending different plant sources, for example, maybe peas and rice, we can balance the amino acid profile. It's like assembling a team. One player may be completely like all rounder, but together may not be an all rounder, but together with the team, they perform better. So it's similarly like that. And also, the digestibility matters. Scientists measure these using protein quality score. So you just don't need to memorize the terms, just understand this, like, formulation of the product matters more than an individual ingredient. So you can make a combination of plant protein sources to enhance the essential amino acid profile, and the digestibility, you can measure it, and then we can try to give a good protein quality which is plant based as well. So now let's be balanced. Alternative protein also face some challenges. So the regulations, mainly for the insect protein and cultured meat, are still evolving in many countries. Some plant and insect proteins may cause allergies in sensitive individuals, so that also needs to be considered. There is also issue with the culture acceptance. Food is emotional, so not just like technical. We can work on giving the best quality, but culturally acceptance for especially insect-based protein is still questionable. And finally, the cost. So many of the products still struggle to match with the conventional meat prices. So innovation is not just considering science, but it's science, regulation, culture, plus economics. All of this do need to be considered if a new innovation product needs to be accepted in the market. Um, And what next? The next stage is even more interesting. That is, after the stage of alternative protein, there is a precision fermentation which uses the microorganisms to produce a specific protein, maybe like for example milk protein, without using of animals. So that's interesting, right? Like, think of it like brewing beer, but instead of alcohol, microbes produce functional proteins. So hybrid products is also in upcoming technology, where the plant proteins with small amounts of cultured fat is used to improve the taste. And AI is also being used to optimize recipes, adjusting amino acid texture and flavor digitally before you are having a physical trial. So the future of protein will not be just one solution, it will have a combination of these, like a portfolio, right? So this was about a briefly about the trend, that is alternative protein, but this is just the beginning. Why should somebody care about this? Because food is not just cooking anymore, it's science, regulation, innovation, and health combined, right? If you're preparing for exams like food analyst, technical officer, CFSO, you already know from the official syllabus the topics like nutraceuticals, functional foods, food safety laws, contaminants, analysis techniques are directly included. So that means the trends are not exactly like extra knowledge, they are exam knowledge. So understanding the industry trends will give you an edge for the descriptive answers, interview, case studies, and real world application based questions. And for professionals, if you're already working in food industries, alternative proteins are not just a theory topic. So they affect the product development, label claims, regulatory approvals, maybe the import export compliance, customer acceptance. So if you don't understand the trends early, you will always react late. And in food industry, late means an opportunity missed. And for the general public also, I feel if you are just somebody who cares about health, you will soon see plant-based proteins or plant protein products, fortified snack, functional beverages, health-based food claims. So understanding what real science is and what is marketing makes you a smart consumer. So if you want a clear breakdown like this, no confusion, no hype, only science made simple, please follow food feeds on Instagram, also YouTube, Telegram, because here we don't just study food, but we also try to understand it. So, in the upcoming video, I'll be talking about nutraceuticals, food that work like medicine. So, if you're please interested in this, please subscribe to the channel and hit the bell icon so that you get notified when a new video is being uploaded. So, see you in the next video. Thank you.